Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Earthbound Immortal Fortune Lady Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for August 2022. This is the start of a bunch of different deck profiles that I plan to make for the Earthbound Immortal monsters, including the different monsters that were used in the 5D series. I want to focus on the Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu used by Carly from the 5D series, along with her Fortune Lady monsters that she acquired when she became a Dark Signer. I do plan to make a couple other decks that focus in on the monsters used, including Rex Goodwin with the Wiracocha Raska and the many different synchro monsters, including Sun Dragon Inti and Moon Dragon Kila that he used, and many of the other decks from the series. But I thought we'd start with a fan favorite, being Carly's deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the monsters, I'm running two Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu. This card was just recently reprinted in the Legendary Duelist Season 3, so much more readily available. With this card, there can only be one Earthbound Immortal monster on the field. If there is no face-up field spell on the field, destroy this card, and your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. This card can attack your opponent directly. If this face-up card leaves the field, except by its own effect, destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, inflict 800 damage to your opponent for each one destroyed. So, along with it being a card that can hit for some pretty big damage against your opponent, being able to also just wipe out the field and then inflict more damage to your opponent can be the game-winning play that this card can provide against your opponent. You just need to tribute two monsters to summon this card out while also having a field spell present on the field. The Fortune Ladies do have their own field spell, which we're running in the deck, which we'll go over more when we get to the actual spell cards. I'll only run two of the Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu just because 3 early game is definitely a dead draw. I like to have more of the draw engine that these Spellcaster Fortune Ladies provide to draw into my Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu, and I prefer that to just having multiple copies of this card and not able to do anything with them. And plus, you can only control one Earthbound Immortal, so with it, multiples in your hand, there's really not much else you can do with them on the field. For the actual Fortune Lady monsters, I run 3 Fortune Lady Light. This card's attack and defense become its level times 200. With this card also, once per turn during your standby phase, increase this card's level by 1, max 12. And when this face-up card leaves the field by a card effect, you can special summon 1 Fortune Lady monster from your deck. Just giving you another Fortune Lady resource on the field is very big for you to summon out your Fortune Lady Every, which with the other field spell that you run in the deck, can be used to just easily bring out your Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu. Along with Fortune Lady Light, I also run 3 Fortune Lady Past. This card's attack and defense become its level times 200. Once per turn during your standby phase, increase this card's level by 1, max 12, and you can target 1 Fortune Lady monster you control, banish any number of other spellcaster monsters from your hand, field, and or graveyard. If you do, increase or reduce that monster's level by the number of monsters banished until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Fortune Lady Past once per turn. So the main play with your Fortune Lady Past is to then have the option to banish any number of other spellcaster monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard, increase or reduce that monster's level. So if you can banish your Fortune Lady Light, that'll let you special summon another Fortune Lady monster from your deck onto the field. Having the adjusted level needed with your Fortune Lady Past Tuner monster, you can then go for the play to summon out your Fortune Lady Every for the synchro monster needed for the good majority of the plays we'll use to utilize the Earthbound Immortals on the field. Being able just to increase or reduce that monster's level by the number of monsters banished definitely will help for that level adjustment. For the last of the 3-ups, for the Fortune Lady monsters, I also run 3 Fortune Lady Water with this card. It gains attack due to its level times 300, and during each of your standby phases, increasing it with a max of 12. And when this card is special summoned, while you control a face-up Fortune Lady monster, except for water, you draw 2 cards. Another easy way to potentially draw into the Earthbound Immortal you need. Like I said, I prefer to use the draw power of the Fortune Lady deck over running multiple copies of Aslla Piscu to draw into the card that much more quickly. And for the one-ofs, for the Fortune Lady monsters, I run 1 Fortune Lady Dark and 1 Fortune Lady Fire. Now you have the additional option, since Fortune Lady Dark is your level 5 monster, by banishing your 1 Fortune Lady Light with your Fortune Lady Past. That will make the Fortune Lady Past a level 2 monster during the standby phase when it increases, or just being able to banish any other monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard to increase or reduce that monster's level by the number of your other banished cards. With this card and your target of one Fortune Lady monster you control. That will let you special summon out Fortune Lady Dark, and with that, that's the 2 level 7s equaled out together to summon out Fortune Lady Every. And you have Fortune Lady Fire in the deck for more of a destruction of a face-up monster your opponent controls, and Dark with her own effect being able to, when she's summoned by a Fortune Lady monster, to destroy an opponent's monster by battle and send it to the graveyard, to select and special summon one Fortune Lady from your graveyard back onto the field. And then for the rest of the monsters in the main deck, I just run 2 Effect Veiler. If you wanted to run a 3rd copy of this card, you could always try and reduce one of the last couple Fortune Lady monsters that I ran for those numbers. But just being a spellcaster definitely helps with the engine that I'm running for the draw power in the spell lineup. For the spells, we are running 3 Fortune Vision. When this card's activated, you can add 1 Fortune Lady card from your deck to your hand. And once per turn, if this card you control is banished by the card effect, you can activate this effect this turn. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, even if this card leaves the field. And once per turn, if this card in your opponent controls is banished by a card effect, except during the damage step, you can make the next battle damage you take this turn become 0, even if this card leaves the field. So you have the protection for your bigger monsters, because once per turn, if you control a card that is banished by a card effect, you can activate this effect of this turn. Monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and that includes your Earthbound Immortal monsters, just giving you a more protection for Aslla Piscu on the field. It can't be targeted by attacks with your opponent's monsters, and can also be destroyed by card effects. For more special summon power, I also run 3 Fortune Lady Calling. If you control a Fortune Lady monster, special summon 1 Fortune Lady monster from your deck with a different name from the cards you control. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this effect resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for synchro monsters, which really isn't a limitation with this deck. That is really the main play you want to go for. For that synchro monster will definitely come in handy with the spell card, which is also one of our other field spells, being Earthbound Geoglyph. For more draw power, I also run 3 Fortune's Future. Target one of your banished Fortune Lady monsters, return it to the graveyard, then draw 2 cards. Just more of the draw engine. You're going to go through that draw engine a lot, because that's what you're going to want to draw into with your Aslla Piscu. For the other draw engine, for the spellcasters, I run 3 of the Spellbook of Knowledge and 3 Spellbook of Secrets. With Secrets, you just add 1 Spellbook card from your deck to your hand, except for a Spellbook of Secrets, so you'll add Spellbook of Knowledge off that card. And then with Spellbook of Knowledge, you can send to the graveyard 1 spellcaster monster you control, or 1 other spellbook card from your hand or face on your field, except Spellbook of Knowledge, to draw 2 cards. So altogether, this is just more and more search engine power. So even if you open up multiples of Spellbook of Secrets, you can only activate the 1, but you can search out Knowledge, and then send that other Secrets with Knowledge to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. For our field spells, I run 2 Future Visions and 2 Earthbound Geoglyph. With Future Visions, each time a monster is normal summon, target that monster and banish it, and during the next standby phase of the player who controlled that monster, return it to the field in face-up attack position. Just a way to disrupt your opponent's own normal summon plays. The big field spell comes in the form of Earthbound Geoglyph. While any level 10 monsters are on the field, neither player can target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you can treat 1 synchro monster as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of an Earthbound Immortal monster. If a synchro monster is special summoned, except during the damage step, you can add 1 Earthbound Immortal spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this is protection when you have the Earthbound Immortal not being able to destroy this field spell on the field. Future Visions disrupts your opponent's normal summon plays for that turn, but you need that field spell on the field so you can keep your Earthbound Immortal safe as well. It has to be on the field with a field spell, so we run a pretty good number altogether using the Earthbound Immortal field spell and the Fortune Lady field spell. For some of the one-ofs, I run the 1 Earthbound Immortal Revival. This is just to recycle the Earthbound Immortal monster and 1 field spell in our graveyard back to our hand. So if our opponent does manage a way to just wipe out the complete field, we can use this card as also one of the cards we potentially searched off of Earthbound Geoglyph to add those cards back to our hand. I also run 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Change of Heart just for the tribute of our opponent's monster to go into the Earthbound Immortal if need be, and then also 1 Terraforming and 1 for 1 for special summoning out the level 1 Fortune Lady monsters, which I would say are the most important ones for the entire deck. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 2 Fortune Lady Every. This is our go-to synchro monster that we want to summon out. Well, we have Earthbound Geoglyph. Being able to use that monster for 2 tributes for our Earthbound Immortal also gives us a way to special summon it back onto the field as well. With this card being able to be special summoned back onto the field from the graveyard just by banishing a spellcaster monster in our graveyard. And with Earthbound Geoglyph on the field, it just says if a synchro monster is special summoned to the field. It doesn't have to be synchro summoned. So when that Fortune Lady Every returns to the field, thanks to Earthbound Geoglyph, you'll be able to search out that other Earthbound Immortal spell to our hand to at least use in case something does happen to our Earthbound Immortal on the field that we use. But the 2 tributes that Geoglyph can provide means that Every is just the 1 card tribute needed to summon out your Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu onto the field. For more synchro monsters, I also run the 1 Michael the Arc Lightsworn, just 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner light monsters. I like to use the level boost of your Fortune Lady Light and your Fortune Lady Pass to potentially go into this card. I don't do it often, but still a nice card to rely on for the banish. 1 FA Dawn Dragster, 1 Ancient Pixie Dragon for the draw with a field spell, TG Hyper Librarian for more draw power with the level 5 plays, 1 Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, just needing 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner monster. With the 1 tuner and Fortune Lady Every on the field while she is still a level 7, you can make this card and then search the top 5 cards of your deck for that Dark Attribute Earthbound Immortal monster. And lastly, for the synchros, just the 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, another synchro play that we can also use to make use of the Link monsters that we run in the deck, which those Link monsters are 1 Link Karibo, 1 Relinquished Anima, 1 Crystron Halqifibrax, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Cross Sheep, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn. If you wanted to up your synchro numbers compared to the Link monsters we run, you go into these Link monsters with the big play, as I've said before, is this Earthbound Immortal right here. These synchros provide their play that you need to summon out cards onto the field for that setup, but sometimes just having these Link monsters do come in handy if we don't have the means to go into a synchro play with the Fortune Ladies we have, since our only tuner monster that we really rely on for the Fortune Lady plays is Fortune Lady Past. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, just being able to rely on that special summon of your Fortune Lady Pass with your other Fortune Lady monster. If you go for the Banish, like I said, with Fortune Lady Light and Fortune Lady Past on the field, you can summon out your Fortune Lady Dark, putting the Fortune Lady Past at a level 2, and Fortune Lady Dark is a level 5 monster, going for the level 7 synchro onto the field. And all of this can be done with that summon on the field. You'll have the level increase of Fortune Lady Every, but if your opponent does destroy this card, you can at least special summon it back onto the field by banishing one of your other spellcasters in the graveyard from the deck. If you then have that monster on the field along with your field spell, Earthbound Geoglyph, you can tribute out the Fortune Lady Every for your Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu, making it so the field spell is also protected, and being able to once again banish spellcaster the following turn again to summon Lady Every on the field, giving you a banish for your opponent's monster and giving you a search of that other Earthbound Immortal. It's a really nice combo that works very, very well for what the deck is intended to do for the Fortune Lady play. Some of the other special summoning comes in the form of if you open up the 1-for-1 and then just your play for your Fortune Lady Calling, controlling that Fortune Lady monster to special summon another one from your deck with a different name. You can go for the 1-for-1, summoning out the Fortune Lady Light, activate Calling to summon out your Fortune Lady Past, and with that you still have your normal summon to use as well, being able to banish Light for that special summon again off of Light, and then being able to use the same play again with these 2 cards to go into your Fortune Lady Every. If you don't have the Earthbound Immortal in your hand and wish to go for another banished target, you can always go for your Fortune Lady Water, with the card being a draw 2, and with this play you may want to go for more of the investment to target one Fortune Lady monster you control, which would be Fortune Lady Past, and then also banish any number of spellcaster monsters from your hand, field, and or graveyard. So along with the additional Fortune Lady Light that you would have on the field, if you banish 1 additional Fortune Lady monster in your hand, that will put Fortune Lady Past at a level 3 spot, making it so you can still go for the level 7 synchro play with your 2 monsters on the field and still have the means of drawing 2 to potentially get the Earthbound Immortal Aslla Piscu into your hand. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'm definitely excited to start working on some of the other Earthbound Immortal decks that focus on the decks that their anime counterparts used in the 5D series. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.